Okay, that is a D. And you can look at that as maybe a saying. Let's just say, I don't like sayings, but if something really helps you, use it. Okay? Bass F clef is down. Starts with a D. D is the key. Another way, D is the key to the bass clef. And I will show that as we go on. Also, I want to also show you this as free flashcards. Okay? I want to show you this. Look at this. I'm going to hit anywhere in that area, and it's going to do it again. I hear that as a D. Okay? Dun, 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 dun. Okay? It's basically in minuet and G, it starts out with that D. Okay? So I also hear that as a lazy D. Dun, dun. And the next one down is C. Okay? So lazy D, it's run out of energy. There's nothing you can go. You can't you can't go any lower until you hit the root. Okay? So I call it lazy D. And this is your cadence. G, C. Okay? Now I'm gonna hit again. G, C. It's a 5 to a 1. 5 being C, D, E, F, G, and 1 would be thinking backwards. G, F, E, D, C. Okay? Now, normally, I think instead of 5 to 1, I think 1 to 4. Because if I'm coming from a G to a C, I'm going a 5 to a 1. But if I'm going from a G to a C, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. G, A, B, C. And you always do it in the scale of what are you working at to get the right answer. So if I think a 1 to 4, instead of a circle of fifths, you can also think of a circle of fourths. It works the same way. Okay? Depends where you're coming or going in life. So this is a G, and we're going to put G, cadence sound. I'm going to hit it again. Get that in your head. G. Okay? D. D. The center. And you'll watch this D. I'm going to keep on saying about this D, and I'm going to show you something amazing about this D. You don't know it, but you already know a minimum of 4 notes that you never will forget. I don't think you will. Okay? Let's stay on that for a second. That's a C. In the upper clef, that would be an A. In the G clef, that would be an A, treble clef. But in this bass F clef, that is a C. But this actually, if you go up to the next treble clef and you look right 2 lines above, that is also a C. So that's kind of a gift there too. A C down here, 2 lines below, and 2 lines above. Also, when I think about this, I can think, well, C, E, G as making a chord. I can also think C, D, E, and I can also think A, B, C, or B, C, D. You just think of things that are right next door to it. Okay? So that's a C, and you can hit it up here to hear that again. And that's, I'm going to hit that again. E, D, C. Okay? That would be mi, re, do. Mi, re, do. Mi, re, do. Okay? Because that's an E. I didn't look. That's an A, B, C. Okay? Da, da, da. A. Now what is that? 2 lines below, 2 lines above. Now that is key to the D scale. To the F clef. It's not the D scale. I want you to look at the D here. I want you to look at the D in the middle. And believe it or not, right above 2 spaces of this clef, the bass F clef, is a D. So you have a D, D, D. And that also shows you where C's and D's are, etc. Okay? C would be the first line above the bass clef. D would be exactly symmetrical with this one lower here. It would be 2 spaces above the F clef. Okay? So this right here is a D. That's that lazy D. Dun, dun. Okay? And then did you notice? I said dun, dun. Did you notice? It laid right down and it caught an octave. Okay? It actually caught an octave, actually 2 octaves above. But yet you still heard dun, dun. But if I'm going to hit it, we were way below that. Because there's a D that we just came from, which was a low D, which is 2 spaces out below the F clef. And then there's one right in the middle, which is the key to the F clef, which is a D. And if you went right above that middle C, okay, then that right there would be a next D. So it's almost, essentially, it's almost 2 octaves above, okay? So here we go, and we're going to hit C here. And that's the leading tone. I can really about hear that in my sleep, okay? And I will be teaching something hopefully today that I found out about the leading tone. I never saw this before, but if you were in C and you went to G, you'd have one sharp in it, right? Okay, that'd be the key of 1 sharp. But I just noticed yesterday or the day before that you always have the leading tone is what the sharp that's added. So if G has an F sharp, that's the sharp that makes it the key of 1 sharp. Now watch this. Okay, the next one, 2 sharps, is D. Okay, it'd be D would be D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. If I made a mistake, I'm doing this right off the cuff. But we already know that F sharp has to be in it because that's the way it works. It's more or less stacked. Okay? Now, if I say G has 1 sharp, then D has got to have another sharp. Okay? So you look for where's the next sharp. Well, right before D is the leading tone, C sharp, and indeed that will be the next sharp. Okay, now if I follow this through, basically doing like a fifths here. Okay, what's the fifth of D? The fifth of D is A. What's the so D is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, right? So if you look at that and you say, okay, if your theory is right, then A, and this is probably in some book somewhere, in many books, but I've never seen it before. And so we're saying that A, there has to be a G sharp in A, and indeed if you go A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, okay, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And let's just throw this right on and let's keep on going. If you would say now, okay, if your theory is right on this, then we just went to A, the fifth of A is E, and let's go see if we don't have 4 sharps. And where is the 4 sharp? Well, E is right higher, semitone higher than what? A D sharp. Let's go through that. You should have everything, all the sharps of G. You should have all the sharps of D. You should have all the sharps of A. And E will have 4 sharps. And the 4th sharp should be a D sharp. Let's go see if this is not true. Let's see. E, F sharp, which is in D also. It's also in G, and it's also in A. So we're kind of going that way. And I'm not going to go into all that detail. But when we get to E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, there it is. There's that leading tone to E. And it keeps on going. The next one from E would be B, and you can actually pretty much figure out your scales that way. Okay? That's been my experience. Okay, I'm going to just look at this right now. This right here is a B. Okay? This is a B. And how do I know that? Well, I know it just by looking at it, but also I can think G is the bottom, G, B, D, F, A. That's good boys to find also, always. I don't use sayings like that. When I stopped sayings, I became a much better player. And it's also A, C, E, G, which is all cows eat grass. And, I don't use that saying, okay? G, B, D, F, A, and the next letter would be B, and that is a B and D. Right 9, we're not even trying. That's the D. That's the key, so we don't have to go it. It's G, B, D, okay? And that's an F. And it's G, B, D, F. I got to stop here, okay? I want you to look at that F. That F is an ancient done by monks in monasteries, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere probably between the 600s to the thousands, somewhere in that range, I guess, and I'm just guessing on that. See, that is an F, and it's a Gothic F, and you can look at the 2 dots that surrounds your F, and that tells you F. So you know already, just by this little discourse here, and a lot more than that, of course, you know that that's F, okay? You know that D is right below it, D, okay? And you have D, E, F, okay, that's what going up from D, okay? And you know that D is 2 spaces below and 2 spaces above, so you actually know 4 notes minimum, and hopefully you won't ever forget them. That's an F, and that's a C, and that's the same thing 2 spaces up above the treble clef. This is the F clef, F bass clef, and this is a C. And you can hear that. What's so cool about that? It's a leading tone. B, C. Okay, and so we're going to hit this. B, C, and you start hearing it. And then D wants to go down, usually to C. We'll see what happens. D, another D. They like D, don't they? D. Look at that. That's almost like gives you chills. You just went to middle C. You went D, C. You just fell down. It had nowhere else to go. Well, it could have gone elsewhere, but that was where it was heading. And there's another C. That's an octave down. Okay? Now it's probably going to go like E, D, C. Okay? It's doing a cadence because there's a G. G, C. Okay? E again. That's going to F. E, F, B, probably this is G, B, D, F, A. And I say G, B, D, F, A, it's the good boys, but G, B, D, F, A is fine to say. That's a B. And there's a D. Okay. And that's a D, two spaces below. And that's a B, and that's a leading tone. There you go. Leading tone is almost always going to go to a C. Okay. Now that's a C, and that's middle C. E, G, F. Now F usually goes F, E, D, C. It wasn't exactly the right tones there, but D. See how important that D is? B again, and probably going to a C or something like that. There you go, C. D, okay. That's a very important C. D, C. It wants to fall down. G is a cadence. Usually goes some form of C, but it might go a little bit above it and then fall down. G, D, G a cadence again, E, C. And that's just like G, E, C. That's your D, A, and that's A, C, E, G. Leading tone, G again, G to a C. Notice it doesn't matter. You can hit a G as long as you can hear it well. You can hit a G in any key, and then any scale, any part of the scale is what I'm trying to say, any octave, and then you can go up anywhere's up or down and hit a C, and you will know that's a C. You can also do a G, and you'll know it's a G. Okay, this is a C, and that's below middle C. Now it's F, leading tone, D again, A. See, I can hit this all times, how many times I want to. I'm hitting the note. Okay, that's an A, D, E, leading tone, G, cadence, that's a 5 to 1, B, leading tone, D, lazy D I call it, E, F, C. Now C again, down an octave. And how do you see that C? Okay, let's say we're going to learn a few more. If D is in the middle, and C is right below it, it's on your keyboard. Look on the phone or your computer. C, D, E. Okay, that's a B. I could say G, B, D, F, A, or I could say we just came from C, and that's got to be the leading tone to C. Okay. B, and here it is. There it is. You just did a leading tone, B to C. And now D, 2 spaces below. That's F. You can also think F, E, D, C. Coming down, it's F, E, D, C. Memorize things like that. Don't try to memorize sayings, because sayings slow you down. Mentally, if you say every good boy does fine, let me show you what could happen. If I say every, I can say that with every, you can go to 2 to 4 syllables. Okay? So if you just say, and your mind slows down to that, and you're thinking about good boys doing fine, and this and that, and you're wanting to do good boys always do fine. I mean, there's all kinds of patterns. Just say the letter itself, and I haven't done the study on this, but this just makes sense to me. Okay, that's an F. And that's the middle C. E, A, C, E, G. And by the way, we all learn that way. Good boys do fine always, and all cows eat grass. Okay, that was a way we learned very young. I learned that very young, and I think my piano teacher when I was about 12 might have taught it to me. I'm not sure. Okay, now this is a G, and we got 67 right, no wrong, and we've had discourses along the line too. We could have been a 200 easy here. We probably 300. Okay, and now that's an A, C, E, G. That's all cows. If you just want to know where it comes from, it's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's all it is. Okay, that's an A, and that's a leading tone B. I'm probably going to hit a C next. E, A, E again, F, C. Sometimes it takes a roundabout way. G, that's your 5. They're 5 to 1. C, and a leading tone B, G, F, B, probably going to be a C next. No, a D and a C, because the D falls down to a C. It's natural. D, see how important that D is? D to C. So you got C, D, E right together. So E, D, C. And I want to show you something else too. E, D, C, B, A, G. You got, if you hit E, third space up, then you hit third line, which is D, and you have C, but notice what you have is you have, after the C, you have bag, and you go backwards, it's gab. Now, I see nothing wrong with that. For learning that and keeping that bag and gab, I said something a while back. My wife says, you like to gab. Gab. Use that in a sentence. Okay. So that's C right there. And that's an E. And I hear E, D, C. This is not my key. Okay. E, C, F, that's your 4. E, that's your 3. And that's another E right there. How do I know that's an E? Well, I just know it's an E, but if I didn't have any other thing to go by, I know that the next line up is a G, and I know from E to G is EG. It's a minor third. If I was in all the white keys, okay? So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I could also say that as EFG, okay? And so that's another way. So that's an E. And that's an A, C, E, G. And that's a C. 2 lines down, okay? And that's true in this clef. It also helps you learn the treble clef, the G clef, okay? And by the way, not in this, but these same rules apply in the treble clef, but the center line and the treble clef will be a B, and everything holds up. You'll see. We'll cover that sometime in the future. But I mainly work on this clef because this is where everybody has trouble with, okay? Or most people. So now that is a C, and that's an A. And I don't even need to look at these notes after I've got what a G and a C sound like in my head, because I don't have perfect pitch. But if I hear a G and a C together, and I get what a C is, or D, something I recognize, like I said, minuet and G, and it goes start dun 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 dun, and I recognize the note, then I've got everything. I go D, C, okay. So I'm going to go and I'm going to say that that's a D, which I know it is, and that's an A, because